Hey, call to order the regular meeting of the Board of Commissioners on February 5th. Do a roll call, please.
Commissioner Ernst,
Here.
Commissioner Engel, Commissioner Rollins, Commissioner Vogelsang, Commissioner Wright.
Here. All right, any changes to the agenda?
Commissioners, I'd like to remove item number 4 from your agenda tonight. The exploring exhibits, we'll move that to the next meeting. We're just waiting on some verification from our insurance provider. We thought we'd have tonight, but we don't. So we'll move those to the next meeting.
Anything else? Nope. All right, public requests.
Chaffee, 6200 Northwest Second Avenue. I'd like to see if after Brianne makes her comments about the pickleball, that we could basically we could open it up for comments.
And won't be commenting tonight. We're just doing the presentation and that's it.
Okay, well, it's on the agenda.
Yep.
With a dot. I don't know what the dot means. I
With
looked
a-
it up in the dictionary. It doesn't say.
There's no page number. That's what it means.
Oh, well, if there's no page number, then it's going to be a comment. I mean, you leave it up for an interpretation.
It's just a presentation by the Butters Group tonight, updating us on. They got a new architect, so they're updating us on the drawings.
Okay, it doesn't say that, but all right, thank you.
Well, it says Boca Paddle Club update. Right?
Legally.
Okay.
Hi, thank you. Tanya Zucker. I'm here to ask the council to give special,
Sorry, one question. Yeah,
Yes.
we need your address, please.
819 Parkside Circle North, 33486. I'm here to ask the council to give special consideration to the revitalization and relocation of the Boca Children's Museum. As a resident of Boca for over 20 years and a museum professional, I know that the museum would have the greatest impact if we could move it to share some space with one of our landmarks, such as the Sugar Sand Park or Red Reef Park. Thank you.
Hello, Sil Ciliberti, 6200 Northwest Second Avenue, Boca Raton, Florida, 33487. I'm here to recognize and be grateful for the Butters Group actually making a state-of-the-art facility. And since then, there has been some announcements of some other facilities, one in Fort Lauderdale, and I know the Diadem has something that's I wouldn't say comparable, but it's indoors. And what I wanted to suggest, because I'm pretty much involved in the pickleball world, even though I'm injured, is some sort of training facility on the outside of the building. A lot of these places don't have a place to train, except, you got to get on the court and pay for the court, which is fine. But there are a lot of people that just, we like to drill, we like to train. And if they could look into some of that, I think that would be a great draw. That's about it. Thanks.
Anybody else? Nope. All right. Close public requests and move on to the approval of minutes of the previous board meeting.
Move.
Okay. Go in.
Commissioner Ernst,
Yes.
Commissioner Engel, Commissioner Rollins, Commissioner Vogelsang, Commissioner Wright.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, regular business. First item, presentation by Mandy Forrester and Sharice James Grow.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having us here this evening. My name is Mandy Forrester. This is Sharice James Grow, and we are from the Boca Chamber of Commerce. I run the Golden Bell Education Foundation, and Sharice runs our Young Entrepreneurs Academy program. So our presentation today, we just wanted to give you a basic overview and also introduce some of our wonderful students who are in the program. So we have the treat tonight of getting some presentations from them as well. All right, so we are from the Boca Chamber of Commerce. A lot of folks are unaware that the Golden Bell Foundation, they may have heard of it. We service public schools K through 12, and we are able to give grants to teachers for all sorts of different resources and needs that they have to better the lives of the children and be able to have them help us with our economy in the future. These are our future business leaders. With that being said, the YAY program is actually a national program that is licensed by Golden Bell. So that's why we have a heavy emphasis on that this evening. All right, you can see here our mission to support the Boca public school system by administering funds and educational programs that promote business skills for students. We were founded in 91. We are a nonprofit. We are a C3. The chamber is a C6. So there's a slight differentiation there on who we serve. And you can see that we are in particular servicing the public school system and the surrounding community. Our objectives to provide supplemental funding to enhance the scope of available programs and scholarships in K through 12 Boca Raton schools. Innovative programs, we want to improve academic achievement. I know we've all heard of STEAM and STREAM and STEM. In particular, we want to focus on literacy, reading, science, and math. Not limited to any, but definitely emphasis there. Also, we want to promote opportunities for education to ensure students are prepared to enter the workforce. All right, so you see here, we're moving into the Young Entrepreneurs Academy. It is a 9-month program, so it's no joke. These kids are serious and they can do things that adults cannot do. They're able to come in and have a business concept and learn how to actually take that to market and launch. So with that being said, let me pass this over to Charisse, and we'll see what we have to say about young entrepreneurs. Charisse.
Again, thank you all for having us here. Okay, so to give you an update, you're going to be able to see as well some here of our students that are going to do their elevator pitches for you all tonight. So you can get an idea of how comprehensive our program is. But as you can see, we're at Golden Bell. This is how much money we've given out over the course of the year, how many students in the middle have been impacted, and then over 1,000 classrooms have been touched by the grants that we give. But what is YAY program? Under Golden Bell is the Young Entrepreneurs Academy. Just like Mandy said, it is a 9-month program, not 9 weeks, they know that. 9-month program, and these kids are learning everything about bringing an idea to life. Some come in with an idea, some don't, but they all love entrepreneurship. And then we help them really flesh out what that looks like, every component of their business. And then they learn how to pitch their businesses and in front of, which I'm going to talk about a little later, and you'll see at an investor panel competition. So it's like Shark Tank style that they haven't done yet, but these gentlemen here will be doing. So the program, just to give you a glimpse of what our program looks like, they're in class and they do have mentors. So that's a big component of what we do. We cannot do this without mentors. Each business has a mentor that's assigned to them. We practice them in class with their public speaking, and then we also host a CEO roundtable. So with our elevator pitch competition, there's a CEO roundtable where these students get to hear from local CEOs and ask questions as well about different aspects of entrepreneurship. And again, here you can see the investor panel presentations. It is literally where they have about 4 to 5 minutes to pitch their businesses, and we raise a pool of money to award these students so they can launch whatever idea that's on their heart. So again, what is YAY? They are literally learning how to develop entrepreneurship through hands-on things. So they are immersed in their particular ideas of business. We give them a broad scope in the beginning. It's very comprehensive and robust. So we bring in different speakers throughout the program. They learn how to write a business plan as well. So they have to finish and complete a business plan. But again, the mentors are there to help them along the way. We have guest speakers, as you see in the bottom right side. that was an accountant that we had come in to speak to them during the just to teach them the different things for their particular business ideas. We also have for students who do nonprofits on the far left side, we have nonprofit speakers that come in for those students who want to do a nonprofit idea. And then also, just like every true entrepreneur, there's Saturday work. So they come on Saturdays to our Boca Chamber boardroom, and they're actually continuously working on Saturday as well on their business ideas. And so what else are they learning? They're going to learn how to register their businesses. They're going to create these websites and PowerPoints, and then actually how to receive the startup capital for their business. And the big thing that's coming up for them in March, which these gentlemen and more will be competing with, is to participate in the national competition. Our local winner will go to New York to participate against students that are from India. They used to have students from China as well, but since the pandemic started, we lost that particular until it starts back up again. But they do compete against students from India, across the United States, for the national title of the Young Entrepreneur of the Year. Now, just to highlight some success stories, if you have know who Sam Zeitz is of TouchSuite, his daughter, Rachel Zeitz, was in the program years ago. She literally started her business, Gladiator Lacrosse, in our program. Because she was a lacrosse player, she came in with an idea that she needed to do something better to help her playing ability. And so she came up with Gladiator Lacrosse, and actually is featured, she's on Amazon actually right now. She sold her product in Dick's Sporting Goods, and as well, she's been listed with Forbes 30 under 30 just this past year. So she also recently graduated from Princeton. So she was in our program as a 12-year-old and came in with this idea, because we do serve 6th grade through 12th grade. And then this young lady here, no picture of her, but the reason why we want to highlight her, because Skylar Mendel, she was in our program in about 2016. And yes, 2016, and she was a social enterprise. She sold bracelets, but her heart also was for turtle conservation. And with her products being in Gumbo Limbo gift shop, which is right here in Boca, a portion of what she sells goes to help for turtle conservation. So the students are in our program, and they learn so many different things. And we want you all to hear from a few of them today. So I'm going to have the first 3 gentlemen. And just to give you an idea, you gentlemen can come up. To give you an idea, the students had an elevator pitch about 2 or 3 weeks ago. So they had 30 to 60 seconds to pitch. And this was strictly on the presentation of their pitches, how well they could capture the audience. When they do the Shark Tank style event, that is more, we're looking at the details of everything during that particular event. But we want to give you all a taste of what they're offering to us. So I'm gonna turn it over to them.
Every single golfer in this room knows the struggle of keeping your golf clubs clean. When you look down to hit a shot and you see a huge hunk of dirt caked into the grooves, there's no worse feeling than knowing you have to clean your club. Cleaning your golf clubs is like a 10-step process. You need to dip it in water, scrub it, wipe off the club, then take a tee and dig out the grooves and more. We have created a solution for you. Introducing the Bogey Buster.
The Bogey Buster is an electric golf club cleaning brush, the first of its kind to combine everything into one simple process that only takes seconds. The Bogey Buster has 2 main unique features. 1, an electric spinning brush head from the simple click of a button, and 2, a self-dispensing water tank for a quick and easy cleaning process. Now, I'm not the best golfer, but when there's a hunk of dirt caked in on my club, I can guarantee you after I hit that shot, it's a guaranteed club thrown in the lake and silent drive back to the clubhouse. The Bogey Buster will change that for all of us.
A dirty club face can be compared to a dirty desk. When you're sitting down to do your work and you have cluttered papers and open tabs, it's impossible to get in the mindset to say, I will get my work done. It's the same thing looking down over a golf ball. When you see a dirty club face, you can't get in the mental space to say, I will hit a good shot. This is why you need the Bogey Buster. It is increased spins, closer trajectory, and an overall better experience playing golf. So Ethan, when you hit your shot, it is a guaranteed club twirl after every single shot. This is Sean Alba, Ethan Brady, and I'm Henry Levinson, and we are Three Guys Golf. Go to our website, threeguysgolfaccessories.com, and check out our prototypes. When our product hits the market, you will not want to miss it.
Thank you.
All right, Enrique. And so again, as you're getting a taste, there's a range of ideas, and I absolutely love hearing the range of ideas, but we give them the freedom to do whatever they want to do. So up next, Enrique.
Good afternoon. I'm Enrique Galindo Alvarez, and I'm the CEO of WatchLock. If you're like me, you love watches. With the rising popularity in sports watches, you've definitely encountered the issue with leather and rubber straps. The end of the strap sticks out, and it ruins the look on your $10, $50, or even $100,000 watch. WatchLock is here to fix that. It clips the tail and the base of your strap together, fixing this issue, and it also allows you to add your personal touch, whether it's your family crest, your company logo, or even your loved one's initials. So if you want to elevate your watch game, make sure to go to watchlock.com and order your watchlock today. Thank you.
Thank you. And last but not least is the winner of our elevator pitch competition from this year. This is Mateo, and you'll hear what he does.
In our very busy world, we often find hard to make time for what we love, but what we always make time for is our morning cup of coffee. But in our ever busy world, we often forget to ask ourselves, where does this coffee come from? Or more, what about the 1,000 hours it takes to make this cup of coffee? Hi, I'm Mateo Goldberger, and this question is why I created my company, the Cafetero Club. Named after the nickname for Colombian coffee farmers, Los Cafeteros, my business at its simplest provides you new coffee beans from a different Colombian farm straight to your door every single month. In each box, there will be a QR code linking to my website where you'll be able to find stories learning how your coffee beans went from plant to bean. More stories behind the cafeteros and farmers themselves, and also a Q&A section so you can learn more about your daily cup of coffee. To ensure that we are truly helping the farms that we endorse, we work with small Colombian farms which have not moved into the large-scale Colombian coffee market, let alone into the United States. This helps these farms become ubiquitous parts of your homes in the United States. So what do you say? I'd love to meet you later this week and make you the best cup of coffee you've ever had with an even greater story behind it. Thank you.
Okay, so you got a little taste of what we do through Golden Bell and the Yay program. They're going to have to leave soon, and so do I. But questions for any of the students in particular before we leave?
Love the watch lock idea because that thing drives me absolutely crazy. And for my kids, because the watch band is always too big on them and I have to cut it because it doesn't stay with the strap that it comes with. So that is a fantastic idea.
Thank you for that feedback. Good job, guys.
I agree with you, Aaron. I kind of like the golf club idea a little better, you know, so I just want to give a plug for the golfers out there
Guys, they're
because
fighting over you.
yep. Thank you very much. I thought it was great. My son went through the Yay program and it builds great character and it will pay off. So good luck.
Thank you so much. We appreciate that. And would you have any Golden Bell questions for us or Yay program?
Question. So is the Yay is it only for public school kids, 6 through
Correct.
12, not private school,
No.
only public schools?
What do you mean, Yay or the Golden Bell grants?
Good distinction.
The
No,
Yay
this is
program.
for any student. Yay is
Any.
for public,
Private, any.
That's a
charter,
national program we
Okay.
license.
Yes.
Gotcha.
And Sharice runs.
Okay. Okay.
But thank you for that.
How did Golden Bell get started?
Golden Bell was started in 1991. And basically, the folks that were in the chamber decided we need to do more to give back. And that's really the inception. I still haven't heard the story of how they came up with the bell being golden. Troy's trying to figure that out. But with all that being said, really, it was just a bunch of wonderful, caring members saying, how do we give more back into the community? I will tell you that we get far more requested from us than we can give. So my goal is not just to manage Golden Bell, but to grow Golden Bell so we can fulfill every request.
First of all, full disclosure, I've known Mandy since she was a little girl about 12 years ago.
Thanks, Steve.
Yeah, we used to work together. But the thought that occurred to me, we're talking about a Shark Tank. You're familiar with the Science Explorium at Sugar Sand Park? And this is just an idea that popped into my head. What I'd like to see is maybe do some kind of exposition with the products and services that the Yay participants are promoting. So it would give them an opportunity not only to talk, do their elevator pitch, but to get some feedback. Now, normally our Explorium is for kids, mostly elementary, middle school. I'm sorry. But I thought that might be an interesting use of the space, or even in one of the other spaces at Sugar Sand Park.
I love the feedback. Thank you for that. We're always open to new opportunities, new ways to work in synergy with each other. You can see with the Gumbo Limbo case study, we have a lot of overlap. We work a lot with the YMCA. Actually, grants open today, but they're only open to the schools. So my hopes are that, please, if anybody would like to talk further, I would love to sit down with you and we can see how we can just make more happen and evolve. All right.
Steve's thought is that the whole community center at Sugar Sand is very big. You could start with more like a cabinet in a hallway and then, expand upon it so that you get the advertising and the product display and some of the historical ones that have taken off. Get awareness, because we do have a lot of traffic of kids going through there. And I think that might be they don't have to be there all the time, but you could certainly reserve the auditorium. We could do more things in that sense.
Very good. I'd like
Yeah.
to explore it further. Thank you. Anything else? All right. Well, thank you so much. We appreciate your time. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Thanks, guys. Okay. Thank you. Okay, moving on to number 2, the Boca Paddle Club update.
Good evening. I'm Malcolm Butters with Butters Construction Development. I'm one of the owners of Boca Paddle LLC. And with me today is some of our partners in the back, Catherine Butters, Stuart Davis, and Brian Levine. So the purpose today really is not to, and we're happy that there's any feedback to if the commission wants it, or the board wants it. But it was really just to update you. Our goal here is we've been working closely with Miller Legg, the civil engineer for the North Park. And we've also incorporated the same traffic engineer, Lisa Bernstein, that the Park District is using for North Park. So it's a very close collaboration. We did move on. Arcadis, which was our original architect, did give us a proposal that didn't meet our budget. So essentially, we're building the same building, but we did move on with the architectural team. So for full disclosure on that one, it won't really affect anything or the quality or the shape of the building or any of the square footages, but it was just more of a team decision. But we figured let's present it, because our goal is somewhere around February 19th, which is 2 weeks from today, we will submit to the city. So if there was any issues or questions that the district had, we just wanted to present it. So again, it's hard to see, but maybe let's see. But I think here, this is the site plan. I think it's essentially the same site plan that we presented to you before. Now it's been vetted out a lot, because you can see we have we're sharing the first entrance And maybe, is this a pointer? I'm not even sure. I'm scared. Hold the top button. Oh, there you go. There you go. Is that it? Okay, there we go. So you guys can still hear me, right? Sorry? Oh, just turn the microphone. Wireless. All right, cool. That's one way of doing it. So, anyways, so again, you could see the building is the same shape, I think, as we had from before, essentially the same size. And we'll get into the floor plan, and I guess Brian and Stuart could talk more in detail. But this road here is kind of an assumption of the future, right? Because it doesn't, Jeffrey Road does not go through all the way. It basically ends somewhere right around here, as you can see from the aerial. So we, in working with Miller Leg, are assuming we're going to bring the road, or the district is going to bring the road to here. We're going to share the entrance to them with the district and the parking. Well, the parking lot belongs to the North Park, but we'll share the entrance. We will come in here and then have our own parking and circulation around here, go back out, and then go back out to Jeffrey. This part here, I guess the city, and I think the district is assuming that the city is going to, at some point, construct and take it over the railroad tracks, right? So, anyways, but this is like a future-looking entrance, and this entrance here is also a future-looking entrance for the North Park, for the maintenance shed. So, our submittal next week will basically show the road coming in here, and the district and Boca Paddle will kind of share this intersection. And this part again is like a future look as to what the road's going to be. But you can see we still have, roughly, I think, a 60,000 foot footprint of a building. Then we have here, I think 9 outdoor pickleball courts. We're right now assuming, and then yeah, I think it's oriented north-south, which my 2 expert partners tell me is the correct way to orient outdoor courts. It maximizes and minimizes any sort of sun. And I think we have a slide of the indoor. We do not have the rendering finished yet, so we didn't bring you the outdoor rendering yet, the elevations. So I think, Stuart or Brian, would you like to present it? Because you guys are experts.
Stuart Davis, Boca Paddle. So yeah, as Malcolm mentioned, you can see the outside courts now, they face north-south. So the building, as you can see here now, as Malcolm said, it's about a 60,000 square foot building containing 14 indoor pickleball courts, 8 on this side, and then 6 over here, and then 2 more padel courts at the end. Also downstairs, you have a bar, kitchen area here with a lounge area and seating for the food and beverage operations. These are rooms on the side here in yellow that will actually have glass walls out to the courts that you can use for parties or corporate events or things of that nature. When you first come in, you actually come into reception and an open area, pro shop area. You have some offices and some other spaces over here, stretching area and warm-up area over here, as well as lounge area on this side. In the back is where you have the locker rooms, both his and hers, and bathrooms, and then leading to the outside area. And the way we've structured this is you'll have 4 courts up here on the north side, 4 more courts on the south side, and then the center, this will work as sort of an outdoor stadium type of a court for the, for the outside. Let's see. And then upstairs, this is the second level. Obviously on the sides here and mostly in the middle, all open to below, but there will be a second floor mezzanine that we'll also use for, be able to use for parties and events. That also will have a bar area, some additional kitchen area, bathrooms, and then you'll have lounge areas and stuff over to the sides. Any questions?
Questions for you.
Yeah.
The outside is kind of important. So I think to me, that was an important part of why we awarded the business. So I think before you go too much further, I think you need to show us, what is the outside going to look like? Because it was a green structured canopy. There was a lot of that. The other part is what were the that's my first question. So maybe you have something or can show us. The second part of it is what were the constraints that you kind of ran into with as you were designing this, or you found out more that it'd be helpful for us just to understand what changed.
Oh, nothing's really changed. You mean in terms of architecture firms or just in general? I mean, it's been tremendous cooperation between us and Miller Lake. So, and the traffic engineer, Miller Lake's doing the civil for the park and the landscaping. They're doing our civil and landscaping. So we don't think there's going to be any sort of issues. The traffic engineer is the same. We don't anticipate any traffic issues. It's just, orienting and getting, you see, this is for us to succeed, and I got two experts here. We wanted to make sure we had the right inside, and we've given a lot of thought. We spent, the last 2 months just designing the inside, how many courts, the spacing between the courts, making sure so it's friendly and having the upstairs area. So that's taken us a lot of time to really think through the business model of it. The outside, Craig, for sure. I mean, it's going to look pretty similar to what you saw. So it'll be a lot of green and all that. So I don't think that's going to be the issue. Plus, we have to go as part of our process. We go before the Community Appearance Board in Boca Raton. So we have to get through that, process too. The submittal, again, we're going to go in for 2 weeks from today for site plan approval. Knowing the city, it'll probably take us about 5-6 months to get through that. So we anticipate the end of the summer, we'll get site plan approval. We'll immediately go in the day after or the week after for permitting. So hopefully by this time next year or sooner, we'll have our permit and we be ready to start construction. I'm not sure that I have to ask you guys when you'll be ready on your process, but we'll have to figure that out if we're ahead of you or not.
Comment question. It seems as though it's not really family friendly anymore. I mean, if my kids were still young, I would be nervous bringing them here. Just running and having nowhere for them to kind of hang out. So that's kind of my biggest concern because this facility was supposed to be family friendly, and that was our goal.
Yeah, I think, Aaron, if we go back, maybe he didn't skip. We'll go back to that.
One of the rooms here is also a kids play area that will be always a kids play area unless we're doing some type of event where we need to use it for, an additional, let's say, party room or something like that, if that's necessary. Or if you're doing a kid's birthday party here, like the Diadem facility has been doing quite a few children's birthday parties there and stuff like that. And one of the things they're lacking is actually a party room. So you'll have the ability to use that, but under normal circumstances, it's going to just be left actually as a kids play area with ping pong and foosball and some stuff like that they'll be able to hang out there. And again, it'll be glass and open to the courts. So, if parents and families are playing on these courts, they can easily see into there as well. And the same on the other side, if kids want to hang out and be playing on computers or iPads and stuff like that, you'll have some of that. Also upstairs, they can sit, and see from that area. The open area here where, you can, add additional space here in this lounge and in the stretch area and whatnot, where there's other areas where children can hang out. We this is sort of, we see this all the time. To answer your question, I mean, Brian and I and then many others, we're playing at public parks and things like this all the time. So you just want to have an area for the kids. People bring their kids all the time to pickleball courts and they end up sitting on benches and stuff at Patrick Park and they just leave them there. It's actually not really that safe. So I think what we're trying to create is an even more, safe environment. There'll be activities for them you'll be able to see them and sort of keep a little bit more contained. But on any given morning, you can go to Patrick Park and there's just kids sitting on benches there. You're talking little kids oftentimes.
There'll be kid specific programming too. So play with your friends while they're taking.
As far as programming, we plan to have a lot of kids and teens programs for clinics and teaching and all the stuff that in camps and stuff like Phil was mentioning about in terms of like training stuff. I mean, that's going to be a very important focus around this, is having training programs and different teaching and stuff like that for children and teens. I mean, that's the fastest growing, population into the sports actually right now is teenagers playing, at the middle school and high school level that are starting to grow. I mean, and you can see now at a, on the national level, you see what's going on at these large tournaments. This is the fastest growing group that wants to come to these tournaments. It's teenagers wanting to play. They're getting pushed. The PPA, which is the Professional Pickleball Association, has started now. They have a junior PPA. So, you want to be fostering, into those types of systems and stuff, people that want to play at a competitive level as well, just like they have for tennis. So at the exterior, what you have here, so in terms of the design, you have all of these large areas here between the courts. So you have, a solid 15 plus feet in between the courts here, where you're going to have soft seating and things like that. So if on the exterior side, if kids are going to want to hang out and watch and play, there's going to be some areas here between the courts, and then there'll also be more covered areas here, which are a little bit further away. And then upstairs, there's covered balcony area that looks out towards the courts as well, if there are, people want to go upstairs.
The kids' play areas, will they be supervised?
So the idea is to have supervision, at a lot of the key times, especially like when parents want to come play, let's say at weekends and nights. The idea is to have supervision there, much like some of these other, facilities have, especially like country club type facilities offer things like that as well. So we'd like to be able to offer that as well.
Craig brought it up, but I didn't hear an answer. The elevation, the outside elevation, what is it going to look like? Is it going to look like the one we selected when you made your presentation?
Yeah, we're working on that now. They didn't complete that. Again, we wanted to complete the footprint and the site plan too, because and then once that's done, you kind of build it from the inside out. So if you want to, next meeting, which is in 2 weeks, we'd be happy to come back and bring you the elevation. So yeah, that's fine. And then we'd be submitting anyways, the day after, whatever. But yeah, we're not anticipating surprises or anything. It's just, it was financial reasons, and there was a change of ownership, as you may or may not know, at that firm. So it was a good time to move on because it was very preliminary, and they were fine with it too. They understood.
Just as we presented at the original pitch. So the idea is to have, the building's going to look pretty nice on the outside, and we'll have a lot of really nice landscape buffering and stuff, and then things on the backside integrating into these trails and all of that. Oh, sorry. Hopefully I spoke loud enough they can pick it up. Yeah. So yeah.
You mentioned financial, I happen to go back my notes, and I think it'd be, for all of us to be aware that, you had the Robert Wagner Group, you had Camp Pickle, you had your Boca Paddle was next, and we did Chicken and Pickle. I think we also did the YMCA. But during that time frame, I'll tell you now, I selected it based on the presentation that was given. And in that presentation, you said it was going to be a $15 million facility. Has that changed?
The answer is no, Greg. We're obviously updating the numbers now, right? It's a budget. We had basically the same amount of drawings we have now, but now we've developed the inside. So the budget is still 15 million. Of course, we don't want to go over budget.
Of course, I'm
because
yeah.
You know what I'm saying. I mean, we would be happy if it cost 14 million, but that's the budget right now.
No, sir. Well, I mean, so in that thing, we also talked about sound barriers. We talked about, shade structures for the outdoor courts, so I don't see that here, but that was consideration. It wasn't on the first presentation, but it was in the discussion.
Right.
So I would just say, if you make significant changes, we have the right to make significant changes. And so I think you might want to repitch the whole thing, but that's up to this group. I want to make sure it's family friendly, it looks right, and the neighborhoods is what we expected going into it, not kind of a switch.
Yeah. Well, I don't think anything, if you looked at this plan, Craig, and you looked at the original presentation, it's not materially different. Like, we coordinated the driveways with the master plan from North Park, because when we first pitched, we had no idea what North Park was, right? They gave us a square or a general area. So that's now fine-tuned and coordinated with Miller Lake. The footprint is the same, the orientation of the building and the courts is the same. And again, roughly approximately the same amount of pickleball courts, indoor, outdoor is the same. So I don't even know what to the naked eye would be really dramatically different.
And quickly, because I know I've talked to Miller Lake a lot, there is a possibility that when they start site plan, because as you all know, we've started the site plan process for North Park, that the city may say, we don't like this driveway here, or things like that may have to be adjusted during this process. But they've worked it into where it's, you know, the trails are still there, everything, and it, as part of North Park is all as it was.
Yep. And we are working very diligently with Mr. Gorin and our attorneys on the drafts of the concession agreement. I think they'll attest to that. We actually have a call tomorrow. The anticipation is probably by the end of February, we probably have a final draft. Don't you think, Sam? I hope so. So that's going along well. So, you know, we're dovetailing still the timeline, like I said, is, you know, hopefully we get through the city, a little bit of a wild card by the end of the summer, go in for permit in the fall, start construction the first quarter of next year. Open probably January of 26.
That many courts on the exterior?
Yeah.
Was there more?
No, so it was exactly the same. The only thing we did, Brianne, Aaron, is we changed the orientation of the external courts to make them north-south from the original. We didn't
Okay.
know for sure that we were going to be able to orient the building this way. What
Uh-huh.
we did was now we just turned them so they were the opposite way before in the initial pitch.
And was there 2 padel courts or 4?
There were 2 padel courts inside and 1 padel court outside in the original one.
Okay.
The padel court outside, we've now actually changed to a pickleball court outside because as things continue to evolve, we've really learned that people are just not all that interested in outdoor padel. It's more interested in indoor padel because of the way the game is played, the outdoor walls and all that type of stuff.
Do you feel like 2 is going to be sufficient? Because I do have friends that play and there's 1 court available in Boynton.
Yeah.
And I do know the sport is growing.
So I think that 2 is going to be efficient, and I'll tell you why. So yes, the sport is growing, but it's really, when people talk about it growing, it's really not growing that much in America. It's
Mhm.
growing outside of this country. So as somebody who plays pickle, and I also play padel, the reason pickle is growing so fast is it's very accessible to anybody. It's easy to learn, it's easy to pick up, it's cheap. Okay. Padel is a lot more physical, a lot more athletic, right? So the 70-year-old population that loves pickleball over in all the Valencia communities and all of these retirement communities, not a single one of them could actually play padel. It's just way too physical for that. They all play pickle, which is what we want to be promoting, right? But that being said, we still want to have some padel, offering there as well. Also, padel is more expensive, right? So it also changes the cost profile, right? The courts are a lot more expensive to build, and the cost to play is more expensive. The equipment's more expensive. The barrier to entry is just higher from a financial barrier, an athletic and, physical ability barrier, all that type of stuff. So we think 2 will be enough. I do agree with you that there is not much around here right now in the way of padel, except for that Boynton place, which is private. There are a few other groups that are looking at building padel facilities in Florida. I'm in Boca Raton right now as well. So
We can let the city know that they might have to build something as well.
yeah.
So
There you go.
So for the exterior, and I don't know if this is a possibility, and I don't know how much it is in terms of maintenance or anything like that. But any type of like green walls I know it's going to be a big white building, right? So is there any way to integrate like a green wall on one or those 3 sides to kind of
Yeah.
blend it into the
Yeah, I
park?
think, Aaron, some of the elevations, I think Craig will attest, had green walls and, metal lathing that vines would grow. So we'll come up with something. So it will be a little bit more than just a white box. I promise you, there'll be decorative accents and panels and, there'll be glass. So we're not going to just put it on just a white box.
Okay. Would you guys be open to like any kind of like art in open places that the city has to integrate into the building possibly?
Oh, inside, you mean?
No, on the exterior.
Yeah, I think we had a green area there too.
I'd like to see some of that in the back as well. Like we put in the proposal, some of that, like with some of these walking paths and near the exterior court stuff. We'd love to do some of that stuff actually, and then maybe be able to integrate some of that as well into some of the landscape areas here surrounding the parking lot and
Right.
stuff. I mean, we're big fans of that actually.
Okay. Okay. Again, my only concern is it being family friendly. I don't know. I don't know if it's enough of what we were looking for. But I do know that these indoor pickleball facilities are much more adulty,
Yeah, I was
I
gonna say,
guess
can you
you
maybe
could say.
just let us,
Well,
can you
yeah.
give us some feedback on what you feel like would make it more family friendly or what you see as more family friendly?
Well, again, I don't know specifically. I'm just trying, maybe I can um do a little bit of thinking on it now that you have the layout here and like I mean, I don't know. How does everybody else feel about it? I'm the only one who has like younger kids, and I just know going into an indoor place, you want to have a place where you feel welcome, but your kids also feel welcome as well, because you don't want to go into a place with your kids if other adults are looking at them being like, ugh, they brought kids. You know what I mean? So that's the feeling we don't
So
want.
I think, and these guys are experts. I mean, they're both almost professionals. But I think, when you go, I think the key is to get programs, Aaron, for the kids. So they're just not sitting there, like Stuart pointed out, to have them sit on the bench at Patch Reef and play with their iPhone, which is what a lot of parents do these days, is not right. So the key is to create camps, after school programs, clinics, so that the parents are playing and the kids are playing, right? It's not so much as just having, we will have obviously an area for the kids to be supervised, but we don't want to create like a daycare facility too, right? That doesn't do them any good. Of course, if you have a 1-year-old or a 2-year-old, I mean, you're limited. But the key is if you're showing up with a 6 or a 7 or 8 or 9-year-old, why not get him playing and hitting a little bit?
Great thing too, but like I'm more talking about like, so you all know I didn't vote for Butters Group as the #1 pick.
We'll
I'm
excuse you
I'm
for that, don't worry. Yeah.
I'm looking. I guess it's integrating like an outdoor space where when you're done playing pickleball and you want to grab a beer, but you also have your kid with you, a place where you can go and sit and have your kids run around and not necessarily feel like you have to leave the facility. Do you know what I mean? And that's something that I don't see here. That's my comment.
It is a little challenging to do that as well, because even like chicken and pickle, let's say, I don't know if you've been to a chicken pickle, but we've been to chicken and pickles. It's not, that's not what it is, as much as they wanted to mention that in their presentation and whatnot. It's people are sticking around to drink liquor, beer, and wine. It's a bar, right? It's not family friendly in no way, shape, or form, as much as they wanted to present that in their presentation. I assure you, we've been to a bunch of them. There's 8 of them throughout the country. We've been to a few. So we're trying to do a lot more family friendly stuff. And I think the programming is a big key. So somebody mentioned the Diadem facility. It's up in Coconut Creek. It's the only indoor facility. I go there a couple times a month. I volunteer and I teach, children from ages 8 to 16 how to play pickleball. We do intro to pickleball camps constantly for teaching these kids. They want it, right? Every middle school around, all the high schools around, they're all starting to have pickleball clubs, right? I've talked to the principals now of Spanish River, Olympic Heights, Boca High, all the ones around here. They want pickleball clubs. So people need to learn. So this interest stuff. So we want to get them involved in that. But then we know that there's going to be some young ones. We don't want to be able to have for them something better than what I see at Patch Reef Park on a regular basis, which is kids sitting on benches and iPhones and their parents are paying no attention to them.
At Broken Sound, we just had a kids tournament, like different levels of kids, and there's only 4 courts there. But if you have that around, you could base your playing schedule around where your kids' tournaments, leagues, clinics are.
And again, I'm voicing what comes into my brain and my concerns, because that's
And
what I
Aaron,
do.
just so you
So.
should know, if we go back to the floor plan quickly, one of the important things we did, Aaron, was you see, maybe we'll point out, Stuart, the seating area. This area here is important. Like, we created more space because the idea is, let's say the parents are playing and the kids want to do homework. I'm just making up. There's a room, right? The kids are not like, well, you have to sit by the front door. We wanted to create a place where your friends or your children could sit and you could see them.
Something like this in America that has this level of space, right? You go to these other indoor facilities, And what you're seeing is courts right on top of each other with narrow little walkways of fences, right? We're trying to create spacing so that there is this more welcoming environment where you can not only have families go there, you can host parties, you can have people over. Because the idea is somebody can actually rent out a court here, and then they can have their people shift in with them. Their kids can play in, stuff like that. There'll be soft seating that's movable and all that type of stuff. We put a lot of effort into trying to make that a very welcoming environment. And we've looked at all these other facilities that folks are building and already exist, and tried to add a lot of that. So and then Malcolm was saying also, like, these rooms over here, these are very reminiscent sort of what you'd see at some of these like children's party places, the Monkey Joe's or any of these like Defy or Sky Zone and those types of places, right? I have little children also, Aaron, and I take them to play pickleball, and I take them to watch pickleball and stuff like that. I've taken them to these other facilities. So that's sort of where this idea comes into these glass walls. You can separate them, have children's players, you can see them, you can do parties there and stuff like that. The Diadem Indoor Facility is constantly hosting now, children's birthday parties there. It's actually become a big thing now for this. They've hosted weddings there now. Brian and I were there just at a large like social event 2 weekends ago. It's pretty impressive what's going on now around pickleball and trying to engage people for different events, families, all that type of stuff. So, oh, come on.
Hey, Kat, I was talking to remind you about the art walk we had.
Hi, how are you? So, and also on the about children and on the outside part, we would like to also, I don't know whether it's once every couple months, have food trucks, art walks, display arts from middle schools, high schools in the area. So that really brings the community together too. Maybe some garden classes and whatnot. Right. Well, to use the outside space, so, not continuously during all the business hours, but have organized, on the weekends where, Katie? Sorry,
No,
welcome.
it's okay, it's totally-
Yeah. So to have places for the children to run around with their parents, displaying artwork, sculptures, collaborating with the local schools in the community.
All are very successful business people, and you've done very well. But unfortunately, a lot of the people in our community, with kids with, in all these different sports and what have you, they have financial constraints. Is your programming going to be pointed toward the more wealthy of the Boca kids, or is it going to be inclusive of all the kids in Boca?
Well,
Yeah, so I think we want it, especially for the kids and teens programs. I mean, we want it to be extremely inclusive. We want to hopefully, the same way they charge for clinics and the camps and stuff at Patch Reef Park and Delray Tennis Center and stuff like that. And they get, try to be as inclusive as possible. We want to try to follow suit, to that, especially for these kids and teens camps. I mean, we want to promote them playing the game. I mean, part of this is, obviously this building we have to figure out how to build it and to pay for it, right? But we also, part of this is about bringing the community together. Just like I said in my initial pitch, it's about the community gets excited around pickleball. We want to do this for the community. We want to help them, help get more kids and teens into the game and help, grow that way as well. So absolutely. I've looked at the pricing at Patch Reef Park. It's not cheap. It's not expensive. It's fair and reasonable. And I think there's no reason why we can't be very similar to that for those clinics.
Yeah, I mean, I think when we did our modeling, Susan, we kind of used Patch Reef, and we even looked at this building here, right? There's a membership and a rental charge to use the facilities in this. So we incorporated some of that thought into our financial. So yeah, it might be a little bit more than Patch Reef, but I don't think if we go too high, nobody's going to show.
Just to give you just one interesting example, I mean, just this afternoon, we actually had a meeting with City Pickle, who's operating it for us, and we went through some basic programming. And one of the things we more or less decided upon is that we're going to have, beginner clinics regularly that will be openly accessible. You don't have to be a member, and we want people to just introduce them to the game, right? And it's going to be, cheaper, and everyone's going to have access to it. And we'll do that regularly.
Comforting, because I've gotten I've heard comments from the public, obviously, that this is going to be a, you know, a very exclusive place. And I've tried to reassure everyone that that's not what, you know, this is going to be about. So you've made me feel a lot better. Thank you.
Just one other thing that we talked about today too, which I'm comfortable committing to, is even, senior citizens who aren't members can play middle of the day type of thing, when there's capacity to, because we're not going to be full all the time. And like, that's a time where we know, seniors who aren't necessarily working, they don't have to be members. They could play. We're going to have times during the day, during the week where they can play as well. So like, yeah, we're not totally free, but they don't have to be a member to do it. It's open play.
And so when do we get all that information? Like a price list and like all that?
We're building the model, Aaron,
Mhm.
so this is work in progress. We start with the building, and now we started with the interior, which enables us to build the model.
Mhm.
We're working with Sam on the concession agreement,
Mhm.
and there's financial consideration in there that we have to work out.
Mhm.
So once we get that all fine tuned, we will obviously come back. I'm sure, like when you talk about, this is not going to be this like it's not like the Ritz Carlton or something like that. Susan, and what we can do, and I'm sure I haven't talked to Stuart and to Brian 100%, but Kat and I today, the University of Miami, which is my alma mater, a scholarship we have called Project Destin, is to promote this. I was a real estate major. This is to promote the commercial real estate master's program for minorities and underprivileged youth that typically aren't exposed to real estate. Unfortunately, commercial real estate is very much white males, and this program is geared to bring in females and more minorities. So anyways, but I bring that because that's what we stand for, the three of us, and we are going to have programs for, I am sure, for underprivileged kids that can't afford pickleball, but to include them.
Yeah, just specifically, we created a organization called Pickleball Cares, which literally just does that I'm on the board of. That is about, providing pickleball opportunities to disadvantaged kids, and we'll definitely have programming that involves them.
And also, Susan, we follow like the chatter that you're talking about, and the people that say we follow all of that on social media. We're reading what people write. They just write stuff. They have no facts. They don't know where it is. It's just chatter that you hear because people think that, you guys are gonna delete the Patch Reef covered courts, which they think there's gonna be all of a sudden magically free covered courts at Patch Reef Park that are gonna cost nothing. And that's really what the negative chatter actually surrounds, to be honest with you, like based on what you see, right? And I just think it's not what we're after. We want to see those covered courts at Patch Reef, which will not be free, by the way, but we want to see them built as well. And we want those out there. We want all these options to be around.
And I forget, is there a resident rate and a non-resident rate at your facility, or you haven't gotten there yet? Yeah.
That you've really answered a lot of questions, and I do appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I tell you. I mean, I'm hopefully, in spite of Aaron's selection process, hopefully you chose us because all of us here in this room, we're local, right? We're residents. We have a tremendous track record in the city with businesses and real estate. So we're not going anywhere, right? If you get another one, I'm not going to pick on any of those, but a lot of them or all of them are out of towners. So you could contact us. We're here. That's why we came here before we even presented. We didn't necessarily have to, but we want to keep everybody, including everyone in the community, apprised. So yeah, like, there's some great suggestions about, training and stuff like that. And we're going to incorporate all these thoughts, right? We can't think of everything. We want to ensure you things like the programs for the kids and for the minorities or underprivileged, whatever. I think these are things that are evolving, and we have a lot of time to do it. We'll be back in 2 weeks with hopefully put your mind to ease on the elevation, and then we'll be on to the next step.
Bob.
I want to thank you for being so open and explaining your process, and mentioning that I was thinking earlier about the programming, and you brought that out. The more I hear and see what you're providing for the community, the more thankful I am that I supported your initiative. I'm a tennis player, so I was blown away by the sudden growth in this sport, and I'll continue to be a tennis player. So, but really am impressed with the thought that's gone into the process. Um, and, uh, and, and your reputation, I know by your reputation that you're going to deliver on what you're telling us. So I'm just delighted to hear your presentation. Madam Chair, if it pleases you and the commission, I wouldn't mind having some questions from the public while they're here.
Yep. Alrighty. You guys all set? Did you want public comment or did you want a Q&A?
I'd like to hear what Mr. Chaffee has to say because he's he's been very interested in the project and has some questions. I'm sure that perhaps the Butters Group could put his mind at ease about anything that might be on his mind.
Okay. So
Carol?
if he has questions, you guys can go ahead and answer them.
No. So, got that. Yeah, I have a question. I think the last version we saw, basically the building was turned the way it was. But in the front of the building, the parking lot was much larger. Because the parking lot I guess would be the north end was smaller.
It could have been. It could have been. So we worked with Miller Legg, the civil engineer for the park. So we now incorporated what our first site plan was just the best guess, right? When we had a couple months ago, we had no idea what the North Park was doing. So now it doesn't really matter what we want. We have to fit the building we showed you and, the outdoor courts into this area that the district told us to work with. So we had to massage the site plan, yet meet the parking requirements by the city. So yeah, we might have had more parking initially on the west end, and now it moved to the south end.
Well, the reason I say is because if the parking is over on the north end, then people have to cross the 4-lane highway. That's the reason.
No, we're not, no, the parking that you're seeing over here has nothing to do with us.
That's the maintenance
Yeah,
facility.
it's just, oh yeah. There, you see this parking? This has nothing to do with
It's
that.
not
This is,
there.
Drawing, that was much smaller.
No. That's the
No,
maintenance
that's the
facility.
maintenance facility over there. So that's not even part of their site plan. That's
Yeah.
ours. That
Our
has nothing to do
site
with it.
plans
People won't
are-
be crossing
yeah.
the street to get there.
you see this
Their
red?
overflow was gonna go there.
Gonna go in the park parking lot above there.
We have, I think, roughly 150 spaces. So the traffic engineer told me today, by whatever national traffic counts for racket, we're typically only gonna have 90-something people, they think, at a time. So we have extra parking. And again, we just showed it so you could see our facility in relationship to, this is all the master park of the North Park. This is parking for people who are gonna use the park on the north end. And this part here is all the parking for people that are gonna use the park on the south end. Our parking is all self-contained inside this red square.
Okay. And I don't know whether it pertains to you or not, but over on the left-hand side, there's 2 white rectangles.
Those are pavilions for the park. Yes. His is only in the red dotted line. That's the site plan for the racket facility. That's what they're responsible for.
Just the
That's
red
it.
dotted lines.
No,
No, just
this
this.
is this. No, well, I mean, it's part of our park for North Park, but that isn't separate. That's our.
This is the way it's gonna look, the whole parcel.
No. This is just. I mean,
It was important for us to show you how our racket facility fits inside the North Park
Right,
south
I'm
parcel.
sorry. I know you make a
Yeah.
presentation for the pickleball, but I'm just saying that we're seeing this whole view right now. Is this the view? Is this what's going to be done on the south?
Mr. Chaffee?
we're not talking about the North Park South Side right now. This is just about the Butters Group and within the dotted line.
Going further south, and Yeah, and just focus on what you see there. That's
Just the
their,
red line.
If I'm not mistaken, that whole South Park is 41 acres, I believe, the whole park.
Large
And,
space.
and going all the way south, and we're covering about 6 acres in that red dotted line. So you're seeing a very small portion.
Right. The other thing too is you're gonna have alcohol served here, like a bar. It's gonna be food served. There's
Yeah.
not gonna be food trucks parked outside.
No, we're gonna have
There's
it.
see a lot of bars, these, like the breweries and things, and they bring these food trucks in and they park there, and they create quite a disturbance.
Yeah, and
We're doing that inside, so that's why we actually have kitchen down here to do our own food to be completely contained, and then even on the second floor, we added a secondary kitchen as well. So we're
Yeah.
trying to be as self-contained as possible. The only time, as Pat mentioned, I think they have a food service line is we're doing something that's an outdoor event, art walk and things like that. Maybe at that point we could bring in some food trucks or something like that. But the idea is to be a self-contained.
Yeah. Plus, we have to, just to give you an idea, to serve any sort of alcohol or beer or wine, we have to get special permission from the city commission, I believe, it has to be written in because, so this is going to be part of the process. We would like to, because, if you have corporate events or adult parties, I think people like to drink beer and wine or whatever. But we actually have to go through that process, get approval through the city.
All right, now I guess further down the line, the hours of operation.
Sure. And again, our Mitch Robbins, who's also a partner, owns Farmer's Table and Red Pine, two very successful restaurants in town. He also partners with us on the ice rink in Boca Raton. So he's handling food and beverage. That's why I think, like, when we look at this team, and I'm thankful you guys obviously chose us, it was put together very thoughtfully. Mitch Robbins, food and beverage, these two guys, besides being good looking guys, and they're expert pickleball. Like, these are guys like, Stewart played with Yvonne Lendl in a tournament 2 weeks ago. Stewart teaches at Diadem, and he's also a tremendous player. We have City Pickle, which runs a couple rinks, and the one in Central Park in New York for management. So this is, my job is really just to get through the process and build it. So it's a very, very, very good team.
Yes. Okay. The lighting from the parking is not going to disturb the, I'd be concerned because there are people that live in the condominium.
Yeah, so remember,
The fourth floor.
with the site plan and stuff, there's a huge buffer. We're very far away from where the condos are. You have this parking lot up here, buffered landscaping, all stuff.
Park's only open till 11.
Space.
All right,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yes.
Because there's almost 3,000 people that live here. And
Yeah,
it's only
and-
a small portion of it. There's 4 quadrants, but it's still everything.
I don't even think you're going to see, if you live in the Boca Chica, I don't even think you're going to see any of the outdoor courts because, again, the walls are over 40 feet high and the courts are right up against the walls of the building. So it's going to provide natural shade, but a natural sound barrier, and the people are not going to, I think when people that live in Boca Chica, all they're going to see is a beautiful park and a beautiful building.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you very much. All right, moving on to number 3, RFP for the design build of shade structure.
Commissioners, on page 5 of your agenda packets is the start of the RFP. This is for the design build for a shade structure to go over the multi-sport rink at Sugar Sand Park. This was voted on at the last meeting by everybody to pursue this. So this is what we put together. I know if we do accept this tonight as is, I know immediately we'll need to have the insurance reviewed by Commissioner Rollins. But we'll just look for input tonight as far as the scope and if there's any other comments.
We do this. What is the insurance impact on the district as far as hurricane or windstorm?
I don't know that as far as if there's damages. It would be another structure that we'd have to insure, just like we're insuring the roof at the pickleball complex too. So we'll look at that on the impact of our insurance, but it will be obviously additional coverage, sure.
Being in the insurance business, I can tell you that outdoor structures are more expensive to insure. And but the code is pretty strict on how they must be built to windstorm conditions. But when you have, depends on the structure, it's like with a home, if you have a gable roof, it's more expensive than a hip roof. So the design of this is going to be important as to how it's done, which is the concerning part to me is design build. We're not using our own architect. We're using a architect associated with the contractor. We've never done that before, and I think there's been reasons in the past that we did not, just because of the concern for where the contractor might cut cost to come in at the projected budget that he had. So I'm a little, I'm not totally 100% sold on a design build for that reason. But the construction of this it's going to, I envision this to be comparable to the outdoor pickleball courts that we're putting at Patch Reef, the covered. You're going to have the same scenario with that as you will with the cover that you put over the inline hockey rink or the futsal rink at Sugar Sand.
For Bob, if this facility was to be totally enclosed, how would that affect the insurance?
Again, I don't know how you enclose it, Steve. If you think about enclosing it, why don't we just put up a gymnasium instead? And then you've got something that is going to take a lower rate than what I don't know how you would enclose this without creating a more expensive cost to do this, because then you've got to provide some type of cooling system within that. And I think you're just running up the cost if you do that. If we're going to spend money on an enclosure, I would just soon put up another field house and give them an opportunity to play inside like they do now.
That makes sense. I was just curious to see if it would in any way affect downward the insurance premium, but you bring up a good point.
I personally wouldn't let insurance dictate, whether we need or not. It's the need of the players. It's the need of covering it. That's why we're doing it. But I think that this point's well taken. Is it a field house or is it a covered structure? Just so we know what the process is when you say this design build, we may get one bidder, we may get 10 bidders, and they're going to present what they're going to do. And we may say, it just is not something we want to do and we're done. Or we may get something that we fall in love with and it's a fixed price. So is that kind of what we're getting, or?
Correct. We're not dictating the concept per se. We're not saying we want something exactly like what's happening at pickleball. So different concepts may come in, different materials may be used, different structures. The pickleball complex is using a roof that's kind of pre-manufactured. There was no design to that. The only thing we had to pay for design on was the footers for that roof structure. So the point of the design build was to get those different things from different architects or contractors and different concepts. We can certainly write this as an RFP. I would I would probably put this out in general and not necessarily assign it to one of our current architect engineering firms that we have on a contract, but certainly can do it however you guys want to do it, whatever's more comfortable for everybody. But this was just a way to not dictate exactly what it looked like or to put anything out there like that, just to get some ideas from different companies.
I wasn't suggesting that insurance should dictate what we do at all. I'm just answering Susie's question, but it is something to be aware of. But it's not anything that I would. I mean, putting up an outdoor facility, covered outdoor facility with no sides or anything, does present certain insurance issues, but it's not anything that we don't already have with the outdoor lighting and the fencing and the things that we're insuring. So that's not unusual. I mean, I'm happy to do I supported it, and I want to fast track it if the design bill is a fast track way to do it, then I would support that. but I think I'm going to be very particular about the details when we get the bid specifications in. Uh, uh, we've never done a design build before. We've had that opportunity. We decided not to do that for one reason or the other. But I'll certainly go along with the request, with the one exception. I think, as I mentioned to Brianne, is that I don't know who writes the insurance provisions in these contracts, but they're not an insurance person. Uh, and there's some modifications that need to be made to this design build concept. And if we want to go forward with it, I'd do it with the proviso that we revise the insurance provisions to be more comprehensive and more in line with what's going on today.
I'm not sure do we need to keep K from the scope of work in there, cost comparison to enclose the rink? I mean, we're not going to build a building, right? So can we strike that from it? I mean, that adds a lot of additional work, I think, for them to come up with a price and a design or options for enclosing the rink. And that doesn't really make sense. It's not what we're looking for. We're looking for a cover for the rink, right? So I think, can we strike that? Yeah. Okay. Strike K. Okay. Okay, so I think we need a motion from somebody.
I'll make a motion to proceed with the design build as outlined, with the exception the insurance needs a little bit of polish, and you're striking the clause or the area that you mentioned.
Okay. Any additional discussion on it? Nope. Roll call.
Roll call. Commissioner Ernst, Commissioner Engel, Commissioner Rollins, Commissioner Vogelsang, Commissioner Wright.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, we are striking number 4. Number 5, Gumbo Limbo ADA restroom renovation change order.
Commissioners, on page 91 of your agenda packets is a memo kind of outlining. I had conversations with each of you individually to talk about this change order for Gumbo Limbo, this request. So just looking tonight for an approval for the Gumbo Limbo change order in the amount of $150,000 as it's presented here in the packet on page 91.
Approve.
Brian or Joanne?
Commissioner Ernst, Commissioner Engel, Commissioner Rollins.
Yes.
Commissioner Vogelsang, Commissioner Wright. Motion passes.
Okay. So that closes the regular business, and we'll do approval of payroll and invoices. Mr. Ernst.
Chair, just before we do that, I want to mention that we had great success last year on our interest earnings, because we don't talk about it very often. We budgeted 1.5 million, and according to Brianne, it was a much higher number. It was a earnings of nearly 2,034,000. So that pays for some extra stuff. So interest earnings, it's good and it's bad. I mean, it's bad for the community because it's it's a cost of everything, but I think that helps cover some of these expenses. So, and with that, the payroll and invoices in the amount of, I'd like a motion for approval of $256,263.94.
Commissioner Ernst, Commissioner Engel, Commissioner Rollins, Commissioner Vogelsang, Commissioner Wright.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, reports and discussion items.
Just a couple of items, commissioners. We had our monthly meeting with Rec Services Administration last Monday. I just want to comment that the increased communication and work with the department and the city has been improving and really appreciative. So I thank the Rec Services Administration for that. In case anybody missed it, the 6 pickleball courts, the 6 new pickleball courts that we added to Patch Reef are open and being utilized, well utilized. We had a walkthrough today with the staff at Sugar Sand Park to talk about some maintenance concerns. So those things will start to be factored into the maintenance budget and some changes at Sugar Sand Park with some of the shrubbery. Anybody who didn't get their anybody who has not read their 1099 email, it's printed in your folders tonight. So if you haven't read your email, we knew that, and now you have a printed copy in your folder. And then our chair made another trip around the sun, so I just want to wish her a happy belated birthday tonight. And that's it.
District Council, do you have anything tonight?
Just quickly, if I can. Yeah, special district bill is not dead. In fact, it's still alive. The good news is, I'm sure Jacob told you that at the last meeting, the nuclear option provision has been stricken from the bill, which is very meaningful. It was last revised on February the 2nd, literally, and it's up for review further by the Senate, by the House. It's going to get somewhere, somehow, in some form. We can't yet know that, but we do know that some of the things regarding, for example, performance reviews and things that we do and some reporting obligations are not greatly offensive legally. They're just, or operationally, they're just simply requirements that will be codified in the statute. But some of the other issues regarding the referendum question that was quite onerous the way it was drafted, anyone who would read that would certainly approve it. It was not a fair way to express the review of special districts. Apparently, there was a mosquito district. I heard this just this morning, somewhere in the state of Florida that actually spent about $6 million on a facility of some sort. Is that what you heard from Fasti, from the organization? And that's what caused some of the North Florida legislators to write this bill, because of the apparent or the alleged over expenditure by a very small special district. So now all those things have been taken into account to some degree. That's all I have on the bill. We'll certainly keep you fully posted, but it's still the same number. It's at CS HB 7013. We're still tracking it as it goes through the process. We have other special districts we represent in the office, and they're equally as concerned, and they're happily concerned that the item that was the most onerous part was deleted from the bill. Lastly, as you know, the J.J. Morley matter, as soon as the work is completed, which Brianne indicates that the work has been done or is about to be done. Yeah, we'll get a final invoice and the lawsuit to be prepared by the law firm of Johnson and Selma. I've seen it. I saw it this morning. I'll share that with Brianne tomorrow in the context of its draft. Will be filed promptly in the Palm Beach Circuit Court. Just one observation. You know, this district made every rational effort through your lawyers to communicate with the easement holder. Writing, phone calls. Typically, when you call a lawyer, you get a response back from that lawyer. Just as clients, when they call their lawyer, would like to get a response back from their lawyer. We never heard back. It was pretty much crickets for a long period of time. And that also included the intended communication that Chris Stearns had, trying to contact counsel as well, which went unanswered. So regrettably, that's what happens in life, and that's what there are lawsuits for, and we'll pursue our claims legally and appropriately in the Palm Beach Circuit Court. As soon as we get the invoice, we'll be filing that lawsuit and share that with each of you appropriately. And that's all I have for tonight. And happy birthday, Madam Chair. Nice to be 25. That's very nice. Congratulations. Thank you for listening. I appreciate it very much.
Thank you. Okay, Steve, you want to go first?
Might as well. Actually, all I have, Madam Chair, wish you a very happy birthday. No matter how old you get, you'll never catch up to me.
We all meet in the same place, don't we? Yes.
Two items. One, well, first of all, happy birthday, Madam Chair. Two items that I want to mention is one, that I did attend the community charrettes on the downtown facility. It was a swarm of people and a lot of input. So I think they came away with a lot of feedback. I applaud the skateboarders. They covered their area with a lot of dots. So it was very well done. The whole thing was just a lot. They really need a bigger room, to be honest with you. So kudos to them for opening it up and getting the feedback. The second thing I want to mention is I did have the opportunity to go over to Sugar Sand yesterday, and the roof is looking really good. You know, they're making progress on all the finish work on it. There's still a lot to do, but it really looks very impressive as finish work goes on the whole parts. And where they stopped, they came back and redid a lot of different areas, and I thought that it looks like it's on track. That's it. Thank you.
Okay, Bob. Thanks. Kind of.
I'm just waiting to hear back from George. I did finalize the public records request just to tie it up. So we're waiting on that. And then the city manager um, knows that he owes me a call back and he sent me an email. I think it's been a very busy month for him in the new role. So we hope to hear from him soon about that.
Birthday young thing. I have been getting a lot of inquiries. It was mentioned in a meeting a while back that we would go out eventually for an RFP for the golf park on the northwest portion of North Park. A lot of people are asking, since things are taking a long time, we just heard from Mr. Butters that they won't even open until 2026. So I'd like for us to think about doing an RFP for the design and possibly looking into a foundation being started to fund the golf park. Yesterday, out of the clear blue, my son decided we were going to play golf at Red Reef at 4 o'clock. We got out there, and you've never seen so many kids at Red Reef. There probably were 5 or 6 groups ahead of us with at least 4 kids and the parents watching them. And it was just so good to see. But if these kids want to compete, they can't compete. They can't practice at Red Reef. And the city isn't making a lot of effort to give them space and time at the new golf course. So at some point, I'd like for all of us to entertain the thought of an RFP for the North Park and the Northwest portion, because Miller Lake had that laid out, and it's going to take a while for us to get to that point.
You? What did I have? Oh, went to the pickleball tournament at Patrieve. And I guess the numbers were down from last year, but there was quite a lot of people there. One thing I did notice, they weren't charging for anybody walking in, which I found really weird on a Saturday. And when everybody was walking through the gate, nobody checked anything, or I had my little VIP to get checked. Nothing. Nobody checked me. So I don't know. I thought that was weird, but it was a great tournament. I think everybody enjoyed themselves with lots of vendors. Everybody was watching like main court and all the side courts. There was tons of people. So it was a really, really good event, and it was fun to watch. So, and then there's a candidate forum on Thursday for city council, and I just thought I'd announce that, and because we're all involved in local politics and it's important. So I think it's Yvette and Bernie Korn and Brian Stenberg and Andy Thompson are the 4 candidates that will be there. And I can't remember where it is. Community Center, probably. Somewhere. You can Google it, I guess. It's at 6 o'clock or 6:30. But if anybody can go, that would be, interesting.
I haven't kept up with it, but it's Brian Sinberg and Andy Thompson are the 2, and then Yvette and Dr. Korn is running again. Okay, he's a perpetual candidate. Yep. Okay. All right. All right. Thanks.
Sure.
Commissioner Rollins, Commissioner Vogelsang, Commissioner Wright. Motion passes.